telling you, take us behind the curtain.
Let's go behind the curtain on this one. You know how when you continue to download apps on your phone and you just press agree without reading the fine print?
Yes.
As the All-Star weekend approaches, I am so happy that the trade deadline will take place this year prior to that. Great job, Adam Silver. You guys got that right. But in making these trades happen, there are certain teams that have just decided they're going to rest players. I mean, sit players out until they get traded. Tyreke Evans is currently doing that for Memphis. Luol Deng has been doing that a couple of years, really, for the Los Angeles Lakers. Mirotic did it a little bit in Boston before he got moved to New Orleans. Noah's actually doing it with the Knicks. Here's another thing that people can look forward to. As I mentioned, the All-Star game happens a week later. And yes, multiple players are going to be mixed up playing against one another. It's going to be great theater. But let me tell you about the fine print that may help define the NBA champion this year. It's called buyout season. It's when teams that are in the lottery buy out players to save a little coin to help the balance of power for the really good teams, i.e. Greg Monroe being bought out in order to join the Boston Celtics. Now, granted, Brian McDonough, the GM of the Phoenix Suns, he only worked in Boston for 10 years. So I'm not surprised that Monroe ends up in Boston at a time where they can use some help up front. But I'm not mad at the game. It's a relationship-driven business. So with that being said, as a player that's been bought out before with the New York Knicks, that ended up going to the lottery, I thought I was going to go to Phoenix and sneak up on the ring and beat San Antonio Spurs, led by Robert Horry, did a hockey shove against Steve Nash against the board, and that probably was my closest chance I got to a ring to be like Mr. Big Shot. So the fine print I want you to pay attention to as the NBA playoffs are about to get started later in this season is the people that get bought out. And all of a sudden, they join really good teams and help sway the balance of power.
I like it, Mr.
Congrats
Rose.
to them.
Way to bring him behind the curtain.
You said that like
Speaking
it
of
was
that, somebody
negative.
please buy out Vince Carter and let him go try to... Vince been I mean, man, come on, give him a shot.
You know what I think is great about him, like Manu Ginobili, is that all these young guys getting hurt, they need the rest. Those two dudes are still out there.
What do you think about that? Later in the, by the way, and I think Adam Silver will eventually do this, the buyout season and the trade deadline should happen concurrently.
Yeah, they'll be around the same time.
Absolutely. I know he's going to switch that, but what do you think about players getting bought out late in the season and joining contending teams?
Well, it tips the scale. It definitely tips the scale. I mean, I've seen it happen a lot of times. I mean, a guy, maybe an older veteran, maybe he had to be older, but not playing, fell out of the rotation, not in the future plans. They buy a guy out and, well, who knows? He goes to the best team on the board. You look at Moose, Greg Monroe right now. That's going to be an added bonus for that squad. So that rule will be changed at some point, but it's one at a time. And I agree with you. Adam Silver done a great job changing the trade deadline.
Well, you guys have touched on it, and Monroe, of course,